Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Amy's Animals. In today's video, I get to share with you the story of Cupcake. And if you hear me refer to her as Mommy throughout the video, that is her nickname and usually what I call her anyway. Now, she has a lot of quirks, but you'll understand why when you hear her story. She is very much a rescue, but she's been with us for 7 years now, and so she'll be with us for the rest of her life. So let's get started. Our paths crossed in 2015 when I was working at our local animal shelter. She was brought into the shelter by a lovely Hispanic man who had her in a dirty crate with 4 other little dogs. I only know a little bit of basic Spanish, but was able to piece together what he was saying. These little dogs had been living in an orchard in a little town about 30 minutes away. The orchard workers would throw them scraps, so the little dogs learned to hang around the cafeteria area until one day the farmer had an inspection, and he was docked for having dogs around the food. His orchard production was halted. The farmer told the employees to get rid of them or he would, implying he would kill or dump them. I'm sure there were many more, but they were basically feral, so not easy to catch. And I like to think that some of the other crew members, aside from this one Hispanic person, had found help for some of the other dogs as well. But this particular man had little girls that were very upset and they begged him to help them. I'm pretty sure in Mommy's past that she did have little children that gave her attention because she loves little Hispanic girls. Those are her favorite people in the whole world. So this man gathered as many as he could and he drove them to our shelter. I don't know what happened to the rest, unfortunately. We talked about going to get them, but our shelter was maxed out and we were limited at the time. So we named the little group of dogs after a tea party. We did this often in the shelter with litters or groups of animals. We used group names like Boots, Socks, Zipper, and Button, or Penny, Nickel, Dollar, and Bill, because they were easy to keep track of groups that way. So this group were named Cupcake, Cookie, Figgy, Newton, and Teacup. They were all small Chihuahua mixed breeds of various ages under 5 years. Newton was the puppy and was adopted first. Teacup was a cute, tiny Chihuahua, so was adopted quickly. Then Figgy went. Then Cookie went to a home. All that was left of their group was Cupcake. She was the oldest at about 5 years old and probably even the mother to some of the group. Cupcake was so traumatized that I was apprehensive to touch her in the beginning, afraid that she would lash out in fear, but she never did, and she never has to this day. She just shook and hid at the shelter. One of the office ladies took pity on her and let Cupcake be under her desk during the workday. Cupcake remained in the shelter for nearly a year. She is quite scruffy and always super nervous, so no one ever inquired about her. No one ever asked about her. No one ever put any interest in her at all. So during her time at the shelter, I would often bring Cupcake home and foster her with my family to give her a break from the stressful shelter life. I quickly learned just how traumatized Cupcake was. She would hide and not come out unless it was for food. She would also wait until everyone was sleeping, and she would creep ever so slowly to the water bowl. One of the saddest issues she had was that she would not cross any threshold leading to the outside or back inside. I realized when I once tried to encourage her to go out the laundry room door to the backyard for a potty break, because she had not gone since I had brought her home. When my feet passed by her, she yelped and cowered and was shaking profusely. She was so terrified of being touched, so I had to create this little, preparation where I got down on my knees and did a little clap, clap, clap with my hands, and then slowly slid my hand under her as carefully as I could, praying she wouldn't bite me. Then I slid her out the door. She went potty, and we repeated this process to get her back into the house and cross the threshold, leading me to believe that in her past, if she had tried to enter the building of the orchard, she was most likely met with brutality by being kicked and sent out to fend for herself and her babies. That would explain why she screamed when feet passed her at the door. Eventually, over much time fostering, Cupcake learned it was safe to go in and out. She was safe. My family respected her space, and if she was needed to be picked up for any reason, we did the knees, clap, clap, and moved slowly. She goes completely rigid when you pick her up, and she needs to be picked up under the chest in a certain way. Still, no one from the shelter ever inquired about adopting her. Later that year, I was feeling so emotionally and physically burned out by shelter work, not to mention the shelter at that time was really struggling and under much stress and tension. I decided to move on to a different job but continue to foster. It just so happened that the staff gave me a going away party and brought Cupcake to me with a red bow around her neck, and they gifted her to me. I was the only person who ever connected with her and understood her. So now it is 2022, 7 years have passed. Cupcake is now 12 years old, still a nervous wreck, but still with us. In the beginning, she was only familiar with Spanish because it was the only time her little tail would wag when someone spoke Spanish, but she knows English now too. She loves food, especially enchiladas and any Mexican food. She is a scavenger to this day because that's how she survived the first 5 years of her life. She still sneaks to the water bowl late at night. She will freak out if we try to walk her on a leash, but it's not even necessary because she will follow right behind us. She loves other dogs. She has been very loyal to our pack. She never makes a sound. If Cupcake barks, we all tend to look at each other like, who was that? I'm pretty sure that was another tactic she must have used to survive, by being not seen or heard. She is so complicated due to her traumatic beginning in life, but we have grown to love and accept her quirkiness. Now, if only I could find a diet that will work for her to lose some weight. If you have any suggestions for us, please leave them in the comments section below. But that is Cupcake's story. She's loved and happy and comfortable, and I know she loves us in her own little quirky way. So thanks for listening to Cupcake's story and for loving her and respecting her as much as we do. She is so shy, so she's not on camera much, and she'll often hide behind the bigger dogs when we pull out any phones or cameras and point them at her. But know that she's here and living her best life. So take care until I see you in the next video. Mwah!